Okay, let's look at our Excel file for chapter 5. You only have this one file, but it is worth a lot of money. Okay, so it says finish the table for yearly cost of gasoline for the three types of vehicles in the U.S. rows 11, 12, and 13. That would be over here, 11, 12, and 13. So it's given us three different vehicles, how many miles a gallon they get, how many miles were driven, and what the cost of gas is on average per mile. So we want to know the gallons used and the yearly cost in US dollars. So that should be pretty simple. And I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint so we can write on it and go over this here. Okay, let's look at our Excel file for chapter 5. You only have this one file, but it is worth a lot of money. Okay, so it says finish the table for yearly cost of gasoline for the three types of vehicles in the U.S. rows 11, 12, and 13. That would be over here, 11, 12, and 13. So it's given us three different vehicles, how many miles a gallon they get, how many miles were driven, and what the cost of gas is on average per mile. So we want to know the gallons used and the yearly cost in US dollars. So that should be pretty simple. And I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint so we can write on it and go over this here. So we're going to fill this in here and this in here. And I'm going to do it off paper because it gets confusing, right? It's actually easier just doing it on paper. So the gallons used, here's the only, I have dollars per gallon. That's not going to help here because I want gallons used. So I got 18,000 miles. I'm going to multiply that. This is 18 miles per gallon, right? I want the miles on the bottom. So that would be 18 miles per 1 gallon. So that's an equivalency in this relationship. 18 miles equals 1 gallon. And I can either put that this way or I can put it this way. And they're equivalencies, right, for this situation. So here the miles cancel, and I'm left with 18,000 divided by 18. So whatever gallons I get, I'm just going to put a number. I'm going to use that to figure out the yearly cost because gas is $2.65 per gallon. So I'm going to have the number of gallons that I use in a year times dollars per 1 gallon. The gallons cancel, so it's just the number of gallons I used, which is here, times 265, and that's going to give me dollars, which is what I want. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to change this into Canada, right? So what does it cost in Canada to drive a similar amount of distance with a similar amount of gas with the same kind of vehicles per year versus the United States? That's what we're looking at. So I'm going to convert 18,000 miles, which they all are, to kilometers. So I'm going to start with 18,000 miles, and I have all my conversions over here. And really what you should use is this when you're doing the what the dollar cost is. This one here, dollar cost, should use that cell and lock it. That way if it changes next year you can just change it here. So I have 18,000 miles. I'm going to convert this to kilometers, and here's my conversion. It's 1 kilometer That's times, right? 1 kilometer per 0.621 miles. 621 miles. That way the miles cancel, and I wind up really doing 18,000, which I can pull from here. Divide it by 0.621. And now you can just, I'll actually do this formula for you. I'll do, I don't know, that's C, it looks like C11. That's where I'm getting my 18,000 from. Divide it by, and that would be here, K7. So there's the formula that would go here, and then you can pull down. Liters used, well, I used 1,000 gallons, so I'm going to take 1,000 gallons and convert it by multiplying it by liters, 3.785 liters per 1 gallon. The gallons cancel, so I'm just taking the 1,000 gallons, which is E11, and dividing and multiplying it by M. Looks like M8 to me. And then I would get my liters used. So kilometers per liter, I can now do this column here. My kilometers per liter is just going to simply be my kilometers right here divided by my liters. That's it, because I have this now. My yearly cost in Canadian dollars, well, I know how many liters, and it's giving me up here the cost per liter in Canadian dollars. So that should be pretty simple, right? Liters times cost per liter. It's going to give me Canadian dollars. So let's assume that Canadian dollars is, I don't know, 100. I'm just making this up. And I want to convert that to US dollars. How do I do that? Well, if I have Canadian dollars, I'm just going to put dollars Canadian. I can multiply that by US dollars, which is right here, over Canadian dollars. And whatever, see, this would be what is the conversion? 1 US dollar, 1.35 Canadian dollars. So these would cancel. So whatever amount of money I'm spending in Canadian dollars, I would divide that by 1.35 using the cells. And then there's one question you have to answer down the bottom, and I'm sure you could figure that out. That's why this is worth 25 points. But I gave you almost all this.